Hey guys, and welcome to a bit of a special episode of Off the Record. We've got the whole gang here. The entire team is gathered, and we're gonna have a little bit of a group chat and group talk about Flashpoint 2 and our matches so far. So come along, join in, and I'm sure you'll get some interesting insights.
I think we needed some more official games before coming into Flashpoint. It was sad that we couldn't really play Elisa properly, obviously because I was sick, but it really felt like, okay, this is the first real official coming into the first game against Mad Lions. So I think if we had a couple of more official games, I think we would be a bit more maybe calm, maybe not too overhyped, overexcited about playing our first official. And obviously we have young people in our team as well. We're a new team, like we haven't really played too long together. So I think we needed a bit more time or a bit more official games before coming into Flashpoints. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah, I think one thing that was noticeable compared to how we were doing in practice, and obviously how we started off our opening match in Flashpoint, is that when you play practice, obviously there's no pressure. So you mess up around, and it's like, all right, well, that happened. Life goes on, and you kind of move on. Also, you know that you have an entire match to play. You have 30 rounds where you can kind of salvage things and everything. And it's also like a massive step from for, as you said, the younger guys, especially like Heap and Hara, to have their opening game in what will be the biggest tournament of the year, and just kind of start off, especially like for Heap, for instance. Like it's a significant step up from playing like the Swedish National League to then playing Flashpoint. So it requires some adjustment time and all of that. And yeah, I think like the Elisa tournament would have been great for kind of easing into it for the entire team. And unfortunately, we didn't get that. But we've been staying alive, so it's only going to get better and better.
Yeah, I think we keep developing each and every single game we play. Definitely. I think we learned something from Mad Lions. We went on to beat Contact. We played Fnatic. There's a totally different team that compared to Mad Lions, and we continue on and we beat. I couldn't even remember who we beat last time.
Force.
Force, which is also a different team, but it's like teams we never played against. This is the first real competition we're gonna have where we are facing oppositions which are considered good teams, and this is the first real test we have as individual and as a team to see kind of where we stand. And I think it's just going to be a development period. I don't think we can have too high expectations, thinking that we can go in and beat every single team right off the bat. We're definitely going to need the experience, and I think we are learning and improving match by match. And going into the playoff area, I think we're starting to feel more comfortable playing against Fnatic now than what we did the first time we played them. So.
Yeah, the first game against Mad Lions was a rough one. I think some of it had to do with a lot of stress. It didn't feel like in practice. So I think we just did some small mistakes, and when you do like small mistakes against teams like that, you're gonna get punished. So I think obviously we picked overpass, and I think we could have done a lot better. But also Nuke, which was our map pick and a map we really like. But yeah, they had the more how would you say, the experience as a team, I think, in like really key situations, and that's why they actually just ran away with it, and we couldn't really keep up with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just really early for us to meet an opponent like that, I think. So I think an Elise invitation would have been like a good practice, like to be mentally prepared, because the game just snowballed out of our reach like really fast.
I think like the eagerness to play an official, like the first real tournament together, was like we wanted it. I think we wanted it a lot to actually go in and beat them. I think we were, I wouldn't say like satisfied with the opponent, but I think it was a good starting matchup to have. Mad Lions is a well structured team. It's kind of a nice team to play against because they don't do unpredictable stuff in that sense, or try to play too randomly. But I think, as you stated, I think we did far too many mistakes that we're not quite used to. But that is also something as I said earlier, that we're gonna keep on learning on how we play and how we interact and how we act during a game, and we all gonna just be more comfortable playing with each other the further we go.
I think like one of the biggest lessons that we knew immediately, like even before the series was over, just after Overpass was done, and again, like this is a learning experience for me as well, is like finding that balance between preparing for your opponent and still allowing yourself to play what you've practiced. Because
true.
obviously, like we run into we haven't practiced versus Mad Lions leading up to it because that wouldn't make sense at all. But you run into certain play styles, and when we've practiced, we've become accustomed to, well, this works when we're playing against this type of team, and this works versus this type of team. And we hadn't necessarily ran into a team that played a similar way that Mad Lions did, like with heavy underpass control and that kind of thing. And we knew what they were going to do, but we didn't approach it in a manner of dealing with the issues with how we've already practiced with what we already know. Because again, we're coming in as a completely new team, so we have a very, I guess, small playbook in that sense compared to a lot of these other teams in terms of what kind of moves we can actually do to counteract what's happening. And one of my errors in that matchup was kind of, again, like falling into the trap of being like, yeah, we know what they're doing, so we're just going to basically scrap everything we've practiced and just focus on shutting down this thing.
Yeah.
And doing that in an uncoordinated manner, because Mad Lions, super structured team, they know exactly how to handle pressure against their own playstyle because they're used to playing that way. So it's kind of going away from our own game plan and what we've been doing well in practice. And when you go up against solid teams, you know they're going to punish you time and time again. And the fact that I wasn't there to necessarily kind of reiterate the fact that we need to continue on with what we've been focusing on instead, obviously led to a very tough game.
Coming into the second game against Contact, I think we were fairly happy that they picked Nuke against us. We didn't really know like what to expect. We were gonna pick Nuke if they wouldn't, but then they picked Nuke, and we had been pretty good on Dust 2 in practice, so we decided, okay, we should probably go for a Dust 2 pick. But leading on Nuke, I felt we are comfortable on Nuke. We have practiced it quite a bit, and I feel like we have practiced also against like different things, and we kind of quickly noticed what they wanted to do. They wanted to go A early in the game when we were CT, and we managed to shut them down, and I think that was their game plan. And that, like, if their game plan doesn't work and we have a pretty comfortable lead in the start, I think that kind of like ruins their mood in the team. So I think Dust 2 kind of just went our way, even though if they were comfortable on Nuke. So moving on to Dust 2, I feel like they just had, like, Spinks had a life game, plus that we also made some mistakes. Obviously, like, he wouldn't 40 frag if we, played a lot more properly and stuff like that. But then again, like, if he has a game where he hits every shot, it's gonna be a rough game to win, no matter what team you play. If someone is just popping off, it's gonna be hard to win that game. What do you think, Halserk?
Honestly, I don't remember any games. Like, I don't remember the Badlands game. I don't remember the Contact. I only slightly remember the first game. Like after 2 days after the game, I don't remember anything. I had to look up the stats or how it went just now to remember some of it.
But I think one point you brought up is like we picked us too, and I know like I'm kind of jumping forward here, but I think like we get a lot of criticism for why would they pick this, why would they pick that. What people need to realize when you're a new team is that we don't have the luxury that other teams have, like the tier 1 teams that we are playing a tournament every single week pretty much against top tier opponents. We need to we can only go by practice results when heading into Flashpoint. The only thing we can go by is practice results when it comes to picking maps. What are we good at? We only know from practice, and we need to gamble when it comes to official. We only have so many games to play, and when it comes to playing opponents, we're gonna pick maps, and it might seem weird for people that we're picking those maps, but as I said, like, we can only go by practice results, and that's how we learn as well which maps are strong for us, which maps needs more work, and this is our chance to see where we need to work harder on which maps.
For sure. And then, like, for both Keep and Har, like, you both can answer this really. Did you guys feel a significant difference, basically, just personally, like how it was playing the very first map, pretty much, the debut, to the second match, in terms of nerves, in terms of how, like, were you able to be calmer versus Contact than you were versus Mad Lions, all of those kind of things? We could start with Heap.
Yeah, I was really nervous before Mad Lions, and that kind of showed. I played really bad, and then against Contact, we practiced against them a few times, and we know that we would beat them. And I mean, it wasn't really that much of a pressure because they were the overdogs and we were the underdogs. So I mean, we just played our game and we won.
How was it for you, Ara? Did you feel like a big difference, like personally or just across the team from the first match to the second match?
Not really. I'm I've been doing like team sports ever since I was small. I've always been nervous. I'm always going to be nervous before a game. But what's so nice is when the screen is on and the first pitch round goes. You just try to zone it out and it just kind of disappears on its own. Like I think it's good to be nervous because that means you're awake and you're really ready and prepared. I feel it like that. Anyways, but. Yeah, the Mad Lions game and the Contact game, they were a bit different. I felt it a bit different, yeah, because it was the first game. But also, Contact was a high pressure game. It was we had to win. We had to get a result. But yeah, I like the nerves and the pressure. It makes me feel alive. So yeah.
The third game was against Fnatic, and once again we picked Dust 2. Like Patrick said previously, we will pick maps depending on our practice results, and we felt comfortable. We rewatched the games against Contact and Dust 2, and we were like, okay, we just made some stupid mistakes. We should just pick Dust 2 again because it's still like a comfortable map for us to play. But there, once again, it kind of shows like we haven't practiced enough against different sort of teams that plays way differently, and the way that Fnatic played, we didn't get any payoff at all. Like, we didn't get a lot of entries. We tried like a lot faster paced T side. We didn't do many defaults, and we just basically calling out of spawn. And I think that didn't work against Fnatic at all. And once again, it just proves like, well, you will only learn so much during practice, and especially we might have practiced Dust 2 a lot and we win a lot of Dust 2, so we were like, okay, hey, let's pick Dust 2. But then again, if you only win practice games, you won't learn as much as if you would lose practice games as well. And same goes for officials. Like, when you lose a game, that's when you learn the most, more than when you learn when you're winning. So I think after the Dust 2 against Fnatic, which didn't really go our way once again on Dust 2, unfortunately, we learned a lot, and we have worked a lot on our Dust 2s ever since. But we just couldn't get our game going once again. They are a good team, Fnatic, for sure, and the first map we just didn't get our T side going at all. I think we only got 2 rounds on T side, which is obviously not a great start to a best of 3 on a map that you picked. So that was a bit of a blunder.
I think we all know at this point that our Inferno T side is very strong. I think the hardest part for us is making CT side work. The comeback we did on the T side was obviously very strong mental fortitude by the team to actually come back and fight and make it until the 30th round and fall short there. But I think it showed some character, that even though we got beaten hard on Dust 2, we got beaten on CT side, But even on the last T side, we gave it our best and managed to claw our way back into a nail-biting 16-14 loss. But so I think overall, I think Inferno, I think we can look back and be sad and like take with us that we did fight back, we didn't surrender, and as I said, our T side is very strong and very good. It's just the C side that needs a little bit more tweaking from our side. What happened that round?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You're talking about the B side on Inferno, that round.
Let's start with maybe with Heap, because he started off the round. So then we go from the guys from Heap to the guys that win the clutch, and then we'll take it from there. So Heap, what happened in the beginning of the round, bro?
Yeah, I was on Banana. I got 2 entry kills on Car, and then I just rushed up. I knew the B side was clear. I pushed runes to make sure everything was clear, and got 2 more kills, 1 in runes and 1 in CT. Then I mean, the Creams kind of knew that I was in runes.
Yeah, I'm the guy who dies next. So my first mistake is not being close enough to Heap. Then I pick up a Molotov, and I'm trying to throw it the first time, but it doesn't work. So then I'm trying to throw it again, and I get caught with a Molotov, which is such a rookie mistake. And then you put like, it's a 1v3. First guy dies, second guy dies. We don't even fire off a shot at him, and it's like, Adam is all alone behind triple box, and you know, he got the flow when he got those 2 first kills, you know. And unfortunately, it's not Adam's fault or Ludus' fault. Actually, it was 99.9% my fault. So you have to take those to the chin.
I wouldn't say it's like you can pinpoint one specific person. Like this also includes me and Halsek in that scenario. For example, we could definitely have helped you guys. Like we could have sorted that situation so much better in so many ways. That could have like saved the round. Like we could have let Heap die. Just let him be ruins. We're gonna get the information where he is. Yeah. We're gonna play the 2-on-1. When Heap dies, we're gonna play the 2-on-1. Secure the round. But what I think happened is we kind of were so ecstatic because we got like Heap open up the site and everybody goes so excited. He goes for another one, right? And we're in a 3 versus 1. The bomb is down. Everyone is happy, smiling. Kind of like a lose moment where we're usually very good at remind everyone
let your guard down. Like you don't.
We let our guard down for sure. Exactly. Yeah. So instead of actually talking about the scenario, like what we should do here, maybe back off here, maybe we should let him die, or can we do something to help him? Maybe we should all move forward. There's like tons of different scenarios we can do in that situation, and we did none. We did absolutely none. We stood 1 by 1 in a fine line for him to come and clean up. So it's just like definitely like a small mistake that happens from time to time, but it's something we are like reminding ourselves of. Not only because of that situation, we've been working on it before that situation even happened. I think it's just that, as I said, we're a new team still. We're hungry. We want to win, and stuff happens.
The last game which decided if we were going to go to playoffs or not was against Force, the Russian team. They've been a really strong team the last couple of months, so we knew it's going to be a hard game. We were quite confident in the veto that they would pick Inferno because it is their strongest map, and we had played it and we had lost it before, so they don't have too much to go on. Like all the teams playing against us now, they don't have too much to go on except for what's been happening here in Flashpoint. So we expected the Inferno pick, and it did happen. In this game, I feel like we couldn't really stabilize as CT. We couldn't get our get too many rounds. I think we had 5 or 6 CT rounds.
I'm gonna jump in there and stop you actually real fast, because I think this match against Forest was a match where we actually could have gotten more CT rounds than ever before. I think we kind of misplayed a little bit. As you said, we were up to like 5 or 6 rounds, so we could definitely strung more rounds together, but I think we just misplayed. So in that sense, I think the CT side on Inferno against Forest was better than any CT side we played against any other team, and I think the T side here kind of fell short this time.
Also, one thing, sorry first, on CT sides, I think we note this as well when we play practice and officials. We lose those critical rounds, like the first buy round when you need to get that economy up. You know, you somehow and anti-ecos as well. It's just so difficult, like you said with the economy as well, on that map, Halvor. It's just you put yourself in such a tough spot, and you have to take these double ecos, no nades on this map. It's just impossible against good teams. You know, we are good on T side as well. You know, we're gonna punish you for the same things. So I think it's just really hard to get that, you know, balance, to find which round you should do on those buy rounds where it's like critical to win, when you have like low money and it's the most important round. It's basically a 3-round win if you win 1 round.
Yeah, and I feel like I agree with Forrest there, because I think we on the T side, we win the pistol and then we once again lose the anti-eco, which obviously just, I think that round kind of, it felt like the air went out of the team a little bit, and after that we just couldn't get our T side going at all against them. It felt like they managed to get a lot of entries and we didn't trade fair properly, I feel like, and it just kind of spiraled out of control, unfortunately, on the T side. We know we are really good on the Inferno T side, but unfortunately we couldn't get it going this game against Force on the first map.
It's you know, part of the whole process of being able to learn and adapt on the spot from what you see and what you learn, and again, being used to playing teams of a certain play style, or not even just teams, because I think Force throughout their CT side did more or less what we expected them to do. The only like X factor that kind of happened was exit power.
Just peeking down mid the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Like the fact that he was so aggressive to the point where we're like half curious whether or not they've like changed up their setups. Are they not playing as heavily on B? Like, are they not starting 3 people B as often because he's so aggressive? Because that would be, if he dies there and we were able to punish it, then you know that's a massive gap in their defense. Like you kind of mind game yourself at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, like playing against like a hyper aggressive offer who literally has zero fear, and also just a really like good feel of the game as well, it is extremely difficult, because yeah, we like to play, I guess, established Counter-Strike, if you could put it that way, where you know, gradually grab map control and these kind of things, and versus an X factor like him, all of a sudden you don't have that luxury to gradually work yourself into a round, because he decides that action is going to happen, you know, 10 seconds into a round immediately, where he wants to take the fight, even if he's completely alone, and that puts you off balance.
But then we moved on to Nuke, which is our pick against Force, and we were really comfortable there, and we managed to get I think 11-0 on T side Nuke, and maybe we just let off the gas a little bit. They managed to get the last 4 rounds, but then we just won the City Pistol and closed out the game. I mean, not really a lot to talk about, except that we all actually did super great, both with information from everyone. It was easy to make calls. They struggled a lot, like rotation. They didn't know what we were doing on our T side. So I think that was one of our best nukes we've played so far.
It was really fun to see, because this is the kind of level that we show ourselves, or we know we're capable of, you know, when we practice and so on. And then it was really cool to have a game where things just kind of go as we want them to, or like how we know they can go, which was, was really good.
I think it was important that we faced Fnatic on Dust 2. It made us go back and change some things on Dust, and that made us win against Force on Dust 2, I think. Yeah,
for sure. I think it was really important that we... I mean, it is important to lose games. How sad.
It sounds weird, but
it sounds weird, yeah. But it actually really is important to play games. That's why also, like, quantity of games is important, which we have talked about here today. So it's definitely gonna be something for us also in the future, that we might play more official games before big tournaments, just to try out, like, does this actually work in officials as well? Like, does it work in practice? Does it work in officials? So we just don't come in completely be, oh, okay, now it's official, it's a completely different game. No, it's still Counter-Strike. So I think it's important that we keep on playing official games and prepare as much as we can.
Yeah, coming into Dust 2, like Heap was talking about, you know, we made some adjustments from the Fnatic game. It just felt like we had a bit of more control over every like situation. We could establish some sort of, especially for Freiburg, who's calling, you know, to get some overview of situations, so we can call like a lot easier. You know, obviously it helps when Heaps is just killing people like we've seen him do all the time, in practice. It's really nice to see. So the CT side was fine. Could have gotten a lot more rounds. I think we started off 5-6-0. But yeah, it was a decent half. T side, it shows our mental strength again. Like Poor said as well, we were down 12-14, I think. A couple of tough rounds. They got some entries on us and stuff like this, and we came back, we crawled back, and obviously it had to be Dust 2. I mean, we had those 2 shocker performances on Dust 2, and then we just we clutch it out on the Dust 2. It was really nice.
I think it was a really important game to have an actual really close game. We had one against Fnatic, like a 16-14, and we had one against Force on Dust 2, which also ended 16-14, but this time in our favor. Those matches are also really important for everyone, like for the team, but also especially for like younger players to feel, because obviously the tension is rising, like, right? It's 15-14. You don't want to make a mistake. Like it's good experience to play those games, and especially those rounds which are super critical, super close, and it's going to decide if you're going to win or lose the match. So I think it was really important for our team that we actually managed to pull it off. We qualified for playoffs. We are now like in the top 8. We have a double LM bracket, and we can basically just reset. We can look at what happened in the group stage, move on, and now prepare for the playoffs.
It's finally good to get some good results, and hopefully we can just keep going now. We finally got our first win and our second, so now we can just roll on, let the terrain go further, and and I think it'll be good for us as a team to get good results at the end of the year, so we can stop on a high, and when we get back after Christmas, we can start where we left off and just keep going.
We're in the playoffs now, so like what happened in the groups doesn't really matter. It's kind of like it's one of our part goals was to qualify for the playoffs for sure, because now we still have a double LM. We start off against Fnatic. We look at our bracket side, and we still feel like, okay, it's still doable. Like we could beat Fnatic, and we could beat I think it was MIBR against OG in the next game if we would win against Fnatic. So we still feel like there's no team in Flashpoint which we cannot beat. So it's still wide open, and for me, I would love to get like obviously to win it, but like if we would manage to get like a top 3, top 2, top 1 finish in Flashpoint, I think it's definitely doable. We just need to really be on point, really make sure that like everything is actually working, and stay 100% focused. It is kind of like the last big tournament of the year, so we're gonna play a lot. We're gonna put all our effort and heart into making sure that we can come as far as possible in this tournament, because after this we are kind of going on a winter break, and it would be, like Halsek said, would be nice to finish off on a high note and be able to come back next year with like, okay boys, like let's just keep it up and keep rolling and keep the momentum happening.
I think it's just really, like, one added benefit of just making it to the playoffs is that we get more official matches.
Yeah.
I think that's probably going to be the most beneficial thing for us. We kind of get to play ourselves into form, and obviously, like having a rematch versus Fnatic is like that could be a potentially very good thing for us as well. We've kind of felt how it is to get spanked around on one map, but again, we're going to be more accustomed to the situation, and for a new team that has less experience than the Fnatic side, I think we stand more to benefit from it than they do.
As you all seen by now, it has not been the most fun year for Dignitas as a squad and as an organization. A lot of rough paths and results, both with Flashpoint 1, where Halser couldn't attend, and very lackluster gameplay overall during the year. And finally, we bring in the new boys in town, Harry and Heap, and kind of get a breath of fresh air into the team, and everyone is super hungry and eager, and it feels good that we kind of see the payoff here in Flashpoint, coming in and heading into playoffs in our first big tournament as a team is quite a feature, and I'm quite proud of the boys that were able to do so in such short amount of time, to be able to go and play and compete against the best and hopefully take home the trophy. So it's been looking real good going into the future. Tomorrow is our revenge game against Fnatic gonna start, and this time we're definitely gonna do a whole lot better. I think we had a week of practice now heading into this game, and studied our game against Fnatic and also the previous games we played in Flashpoint to see what we needed to work on, and we put in the time and effort to do so. So I definitely think it's going to be a closer battle now. The pressure is still on them to beat us. They did so quite comfortably on Dust 2 last time, and we managed to almost come back on Inferno. But I still think the pressure is on them to beat us quite convincingly, and all we have to gain here is nothing but success. I mean, we can play as straight underdogs, which we are in this scenario, and it's going to be an interesting game. It's always fun to play the Swedish matchups. Usually they are quite brawly, quite scrappy, which makes for some interesting plays in Counter-Strike in general. At least when you play as a spectator, I can understand. It might look like sometimes, but when you're playing those games, it's quite fun. So it's going to be an exciting day tomorrow. Oh, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in to this episode of Off the Record. I'm gonna hand it off to Adam here and kind of run it out and see where we go.
It's always a blast recording of the record, and thank you guys for watching. I hope that you like what we are doing. If you do so, Perra has told me to tell you guys to subscribe, like, and also hit the bell, so you'll see next time that he uploads a video.
And I also think Halsek had some words for you guys, if I remember correctly.
Always leave a comment and ask you some questions, or tell Perra what you guys want to see of us, so we can make some good content for you guys.
Perfect. And I think you also mentioned something to me last night that you wanted to say specifically today.
Yeah, it feels good to finally be on Off the Record. It's a big dream for me. I've watched every episode, even in the online episode. A huge moment for me.
Understandable.
Understandable. Yeah. Also think it will not be the last one. So thank you, God, for this.
And I mean, we also have Heap, who's been in Off the Record already. But running it out, what do you have to say, Heap?
I just want to thank you all for the support, and yeah.
Awesome. And Vendetta, you are the last person to say something. Run it out quite nicely now. You are a former commentator and analyst desk person, so you finish this one.
Yeah, no, like everybody said, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate the support, and we hope for your continued support as we move on forward as well. We hope you all tune in tomorrow as we take on Fnatic in hopes of getting our revenge on them and continuing our path forward in Flashpoint. Stay tuned to all of our socials on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, obviously, to be up to date with what's going on. And we'll see you guys shortly.